Mziki skim sami, mayengiyabonga kungadisa ngemfundo ebeyingaze ibe yimfihlo kulomunye umuntu. Ungadise ngesimo sakho sekuphila ne-HIV. Mngani wami, yati ukuthi ngimi nawe. Waya.
Mngani wami, ukwende kwaba melula kakhulu ukubhokokela. Ngiyati ukuthi soze wangihlamula. Bunguwe bakho, uyangikhulula kakhulu emoyeni wami. Ngiyabonga girl. Ungikhulula kakhulu kwathi ukuthi wena uyahlala unami njalo.
Girl, sisonke always. Kuphila ne-HIV, angeke kulushintshe nakancane mthambo lwami nawe. Mngani wami, yati ukuthi ngimi nawe sonke isikhathi.
Kuva kabandi shayela 1212.
Sinimukele masatla mahlelo mhlayihleleni Kusile breakfast show sethamatini vuka kahle lo mhlayikuseni kungilesibili. It is the 1st of March 2022 sicala inyanga lensha sesivele sikiyo inyanga yesithathu eminyakeni wa 2022 sanimukela lo mhlayihleleni igama lami ngingulungelele Makagula. Sangena ehlelweni lethu la namuhla sesibuke nankumbiko losuka idiko letempilo. Elangani layitolo kuhlolwe abantu labangu 446 kwatholakala ukuthi labangemashumi amathathu banemkhuhlane iCovid-19 kanti kodwa labasishili itolo emhlabeni labasesibhedlela labelashwa kwabangu 11 kanti lasabaluleme idinombolo letinsha bangemashumi amathathu nababili ama-active cases emeku 95 bese kuthi isolo wabhedvuka lomkhuhlane lasebawutholile bangu 69160 kanti lasebashiya emhlabeni bangu 1.390 lasabagome ngalokuphelele bangu 335,167 bese kwenda 28.9% we total population. Azahlelweni la namuhla sitabe sibuka leto nje tinzabade emkhuhlane iCovid-19 njengoba kubheke ukuthi sibone yona eclip ye press conference yayo inhlangano yakamhlaba yetempilo WHO esiniketa nje the latest update ngawo lo mkhuhlane iCovid-19 ekakhulukati luhlobo lolusha lo mkhuhlane Omicron ukuthi nama cases emhlabeni wonke eme kanjani njengoba nje sathi ukuthi kulama press conference tintatheli tibe nemibuto leyahlukene ngawo lo mkhuhlane ukuthi ngabe inhlangano yakamhlaba yetempilo sihamba kanganani kuza manje ukuthi kunciphise ukuthelelana kwalo mkhuhlane sivaka kabanti etinzaba vaccination emhlabeni wonke ukuthi khamba kanjani Africa Europe netinye tifundza delive kutabeke kunaye lapha dokotela Tedros kulomhlangano kanye nalabanye bodokotela baphendvula timphendvulo tato tinsatheli kuva kabanti njenge update yawo mkhuhlane iCovid-19 kuba ukuthi ngaba ama cases enyukile noma ehlile sithapheni sibukele tothamba embili kulamanye emave emhlaba kulesikhathi yasibahlele emakethe sitabuyene etinzaba tethu ekucala.
Brains on the Go Season 10 is back on your screens with a new presenter and a new host. This season, the quiz show is in the Lubombo region where we will meet 15 students from 15 different schools. Join us every Thursday at 6 p.m. and find out who will be the actual winner.
Sanbonan Masatla Marte, Libito Lame, Ngumtana Konazi, and you are tuned into a brand new show on Eswatini TV called Street Quiz. Street Quiz is a show that is aimed at finding out just how well you know your beautiful country and just how well you travel. Now, the beautiful part about it, and that is my favorite part as well, is you get to win a special prize. Now, that could just be money or a little something extra. As for me and my team, Nidanibona every week from here just as long as you tune in and now I'm gonna start doing balege.
Hello everyone. Thank you for tuning in on Eswatini TV on another fantastic and insightful episode of Dream It, Achieve It, brought to you by myself, your new host, Nomalungelo Tilujele. Dream It, Achieve It is a program that encourages entrepreneurship skills for creative, unique business ideas that foster a proactive and independent youth. Be sure not to miss our Season 3 under the theme Youth Empowerment every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Eswatini TV.
Watch local TV on the go with the Eswatini TV app for only 20 emalangeni. Come on. Do the most with Eswatini TV app. Download from Google Play Store or App Store. We're good together.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Asiphenze sinimukele ubukela hlelo Kusile Breakfast Show lonvuselako ngilungelele emakakula sitangena etindzabeni telifute kucala. Tinkampani kanye netinhlangano letahlukene setinikelele emahamba coach hiking esifundzeni saseshiselweni ngemali kanye nangetimvo letilinganiselwa ku 100,000 emalangeni ekhuluma ngesikhathi sokumisa lo msebenzi eKings Buza Memorial Park kalobamba indvuna yelitiko letemidlalo Harris Bulunga lebambe kuba indvuna yelitiko letekuvakasha ithi kwesekela lo msebenzi kumgcoka kakhulu ngobe timali letitfolakala tisita labadzingile lesifundza.
Tinkampani letahlukene setinikelele imahamba coach hiking esifundzeni saseshiselweni imali kanye netintfo lelinganiselwa ku 100,000 emalangeni kuchuba lo msebenzi lokubhekeke ukuthi ube ngenyanga yamabasa kulomnyaka. Letintfo tifaka ekhatsi kudla, tikhwama kanye netigcoko telilanga kubala kulokunye. Indvuna yetemidlalo Harris Bulunga lemele indvuna yetekuvakasha emsebentini wekusukumisa lo msebenzi ngekwemtsetfo eKings Buza Memorial Park kalobamba ithi lo nyaka lo msebenzi ubuke kakhulu kulwa nekuhlukubetana ngetebulili lokubonakala kukhula kakhulu esifundzeni saseshiselweni. Indvuna yithi lo msebenzi umgcokwa ngobe bantfu besifundza saseshiselweni batfola kwesekelwa ngekwakhelwa tindlu nekudla kusetjentiswa timali letigcokelelwe kulo msebenzi. Ichubeka yithi lo mkhankaso sowufinyelele kusita abantu labalinganiselwa enkhulungwaneni kasi tindlu lesetakhiwe tisihlanu.
The Mahamba Coach 8th edition hike in support of the government effort and in collaboration with you, our wonderful sponsors, has once again chosen the theme Hiking Against Gender-Based Violence. This is to continue supporting government's efforts of ending gender-based violence and raise awareness against any form of violence in Eswatini. This theme, as it has been said earlier, is relevant to the Shiselweni region since they have just been experiencing a range of challenges that are GBV related, some emanating from the frustrations of the COVID-19 pandemic and other social ills. This theme also harmonizes the objectives of the hike, which is to alleviate poverty by supporting and empowering deserving communities from the sponsorship that it receives. However, we still request more sponsors to support this initiative, as it is hoped that the present one can also increase whatever they've been offering. Mahamba Coach Hiking managed to fulfill its mandate of changing the lives of the vulnerable people through support from our sponsors and partners. Through this noble initiative, they were able to distribute food parcels to over 120 households in the Shiselweni region in areas such as Nkwene, Shiselweni 2, Zombodze, Somdongo, and Masayisini, reaching out to over 1,000 beneficiaries. And the food aid program also targeted the Tlatikulu Girls Home, which accommodates young girls who are victims of GBV. Currently, the building project has managed to complete the 5th house for a vulnerable family in Matashane.
Indvuna ibonga kakhulu tinkampani letahlukene letesekele lo msebenzi eminyakeni lesiphohlongo leyengcile. Etindzabeni teSwatini TV kubika Nelsiwendla ngamandla kunalinda Dlamini kalobamba.
Litiko letempilo lihlangene nabo babetikhulu eSpiki eGobolondlo Hall lapho belibukisana nabo ukuthi ungachibelwa kanjani umthetho lophathelene nekulinywa kanye nekusetshenziswa kwensangu kuleli. Babhalane lomkhulu kulelitiko Dr. Simon Zwane uthi bobabetikhulu bayingcenye yetinhlangothi itiko lelisebenzisana nato ngako kumcoka kuva imivo yabo lisachibela lomthetho.
Litiko letempilo lihlangene nabo babetikhulu besifundza sakaHhohho eGobolondlo Hall eSpiki kuva imivo yabo ngemthetho lofanele uchitshelwe lophathelene nekulima kanye nekusebentisa insangu lapha eveni.
Litiko letempilo kulamalanga senda ama-consultations kunemthetho lapha lesiwu-amendako umthetho we-Opium and Habit Forming Substances Act of 1922. Siyawulungisa senda sichibelo kulowo mthetho lowo lokutawenda kwekuthi indvuna yetempilo ibe sesigabeni lesikahle kwekuthi ingakhipha ema-license ekusebenta tindzaba letiphathelene nensangu. Kungaba kuyilima noma ke kuprocessa imithi tsite noma ke kuyisebenzisa for research purposes lokusho ukuthi kucwaninga. Lo mthetho uvuma kwekuthi insangu ingasetshenziswa kuleto tigaba leto letimbili, medicinal purposes lokusho ukuthi kuyisebenzisela kwakho imithi tsite yekwelapha noma ke kube kucwaninga. Siboneke kwekuthi boba betikhulu nalabo lababuke imimango bayi stakeholder lesibalekile ukuthi singaya kubo sive imivo yabo sisaqala kwenda lo msebenzi lo kwakha lo mthetho noma ke kuchibela lo mthetho wa 1922. Bangilamanye labanye bema stakeholders lesibone ukuthi kuyadzinga ukuthi sikhulumisane nabo. Kukhona ke nalabanye lesitawuphinze futhi siye kubo siyokhulumisana nabo. Bobabe bala emimangweni lapho sive sikhona khona bayayati imivo bangaba nayo imivo yesive kwekuthi bona bacabangane. Nekwekuthi nje ke sigaba sabo vele sekubabo babe boshefu kuyadzinga kwekuthi nasenda imithetho tsite sive nakubo nje ukuthi bangasivunulisa bathini abantu labadzala. Ngiko ke sila eSpiki njengoba labanye nje baseshiselweni.
Litiko lithi litawutsintsana nato tonkhe tinhlangothi letitsindzekako lisachibela lo mthetho. Etindzabeni teSwatini TV nginginelsiwendla ngamandla kunavuma inkhosi inzinisa eSpiki.
Litiko letempilo liphindze lahlangana nabo babetikhulu besifundza saseshiselweni ngemsebenzi wekuva imivo noma imibono yabo nekuhlongota umthetho losakhanganya ukulinywa kuthengiswe insangu uloyo lotawube anemvumo layitfolako kulo litiko ukuthi angayilima ajinga ayithengise.
Kulo mhlangano sikolwa wabobabetikhulu nelitiko letempilo. Betempilo betfule kubobabetikhulu ukuthi umthetho lowatiwa nge-Opium and Habit Forming Drugs Act of 1922 ugunyata litiko ukuthi linikete emaphepha lavumela umuntu alime insangu ngetizatfu letimbili. Sizatfu sekucala sekwakhiwa kwemaphilisi nemithi, kanti sizatfu sesibili sekwenta tincwaningo pheceleti medicinal and scientific research purposes. Zandile Dlamini losehlangothini letemtsetfo etiko letempilo uchaza kabanti.
Sinelihlaka-ke lwakamhlahlangene lesatimbandzakanyana-ke silivela kangwane kuthiwa yi-Single Convention on Narcotic Drugs ya-1961 as amended by the 1972 protocol. Lolu hlaka lolu-ke luthi onke amave latimbandzakanyana-ke atawukhona kuyisebenzisela lokwakha imithi lelinsangu noma kwenta lucwaningo ngayo. Lokusho ukuthi nathi-ke silive laseSwatini kufuna ukuthi ngoba satimbandzakanya nalolu hlaka kufuna ukuthi masiyivumela lensango siyivumelele lokho ukuthi siyacwaninga ngayo noma sakha imithi. Ingakho-ke namhla-ke kulo mthetho lesinawo lese siwuchibela sivumela lokho nje ukuthi kwaloko kuphela njengoba buvela usho lo mthetho nekuthi-ke bese sesithi-ke kufuna kube nale authority lokuyi-requirement yalo mhlabuhlangane ukuthi kufuna kube ne-agency letaba responsible for loku-regulator lensango uma ngabe leli vele iyivumele. Sithi-ke i-MRA itawenda lo msebenzi loyo. Kunema-license lahlukehlukene siwabalile kule workshop ukuthi kutaba ne-license yekuproducer lensango, kube ne-license yekuyi-manufacture incenye ufuna kuyenta ibe maphilisi noma ufuna kwenta i-cannabis oil, kune-license yekuyi-transporter, kune-license yekuyi-importer nekuyi-exporter. Lama-regulations ayachaza-ke yonke nale mininingwane nema-securities, ma-security measures lataba khona labekwako in place kwenta sure ukuthi lensango ayinobe seyiwela kule illicit market.
Sikhulu sasembilaneni Malambulo Emdluli uthi bobaba etikhulu bathi baneluvalo loluncane ngalomthetho.
Sithi khulu kuleyo mvulo labede nawo lamhla akusiyo into lesiyithakaselako ngesizathu sekungukuthi cishe lokuningi sebakuhlalile etafuleni bakudiscussa bakudrafta naphasi. So lamhla sebatawusitshela ngale mithetho labafike kiyo bona balitiko lokuthi batakusebenta kanjani bangafike etikhulwini. Tikhulu-ke tikubukile lokho tathi no tiyacela lokho ukuthi lokuningi akuyiwele ma-communities la kunesive khona sive sisho imvo yaso kibo kulaba baka-health bathathe le mvo yesive ukuthi sive sifiseni sona ukuthi bekungasebenteka kanjani ngoba lokhu lasebeta nabo bona sebakubhale phasi kunetinsolo letiningi lebo babe bachamuka nanto lokho ukuthi ungazi ukuthi seyinto yemuntu lapha lo muntu lonemali ufika evene uthi yena unebhizinisi lenje ufise kulinywe lensango emaswati ayilime kubese kunikwa yena lensango. Lokho kusikushiso yini sikushiso ngaletindlela lela ufike khona ubuka lama-cost abo lama-license ekutransporta ne-license yokulima lensango lokho lonke letimali tiletulu uyabona lokuthi lo muntu lote nalomcondo lo umuntu vele lote akulungisele lonayo nale mali lo.
Litiko letempilo litawuhamba tonke tifundza telive lihlangane nabo babetikhulu ekukhulumiseni lo mthetho ungakayi eParliamente. Etindzabeni te-Eswatini TV kubika Sifiso Nxumalo nginasimuva shongo sisenhlangano.
Luhlelo lokusoka kuleli voluntary medical male circumcision seyethule bonesi labalishumi nakunye labatawusoka etibhedlela letahlukene kuleli. Akhuluma ehhotela le-Hilton Garden Inn eMbabane naketfula labonesi lobukele luhlelo Vusimaziya uthi kwengeta tisebenti tempilo letendalo luhlelo kutawusita ukuthi kusebenteke melula nesive esisitakale masinyane.
Hlose kuqinisekisa ukuthi sive sisitakala masinyane masitosoka etibhedlela letahlukahlukene uhulumende nhlangothini lokusoka kuleli i-voluntary medical male circumcision seliceceshe bonesi labalishumi nakunye. Lobukele luhlelo Vusimaziya uthi lokhu kutalithuthukisa kakhulu lolu hlelo.
Solo le program yilidwa abodokotela. So as much as bonesi beba participate ekuhlelweni kwekusoka event basita futhi etigabeni letinyenti kodwa nje lokukhatha bekwendiwa abodokotela. Kwabonakala-ke ukuthi kuze ku-addresseke le gap yekushoda wabodokotela. Litiko alisivumele siyiprogram ukuthi si-train bonesi kokuthi nabo sale ba-participate la ekusokeni. So namhla-ke sitolontsha lokho kumcoka kakhulu ngakwekokuthi ku-addressa igap yokuthi bayashoda vele sebendi tempilo ikakhulu bodokotela abasibo banyenti kanti bonesi bavame babanyenti siyabakhicita sitrainela khona locally so kukhanza ukuthi vele sishaya tinyoni letinyenti ngekuthi sale kuvunyelwa bonesi ukuthi basoke.
Njengoba uhulumende asebenzisana nenhlangothi letahlukahlukene kusoka sive inhlangano ka-PSI ngenyanga yeLweti eminyakeni lophelile ibike ukuthi eminyakeni lesihlanu ibuke kusoka bamvu labangu-50,000. Lobekela umsakazo Eswatini TV ngilinda Dlamini nalisiwe Ndlangamandla eMbabane.
Umphakathi wasemzimnene uthi utimisele ukuqinisekisa ukuthi isive sathi kabanti ngetikhwama tahulumende dekuthuthukisa sive. Litvuna Robert Twala livetele kungesikhathi isive sakulendzawo sihlangene kubuka ukuthi yini lengendiwa kude kusizuze kuletikhwama tahulumende nekuthi intuthuko ingalethwa kanjani.
Sive sasemzimnene enkhundleni yasemanzini North sihlangene kubukisana kwekuthi yini lengendiwa kude sikhone kutfola kwesekelwa etikhwameni tentfutfuko letisukunyiswe nguhulumende. Litvuna Robert Twala lithi bese kusikhathi bangakhona ukuhlangana ngenxa yemkhuhlane i-COVID-19.
Sihlangene ngaloko ukuthi kokuqala sitokuxolisa kulesive senkosi ukuthi emva kweminyaka lemibili siyabonga ukuthi uhulumende sewugcine athi sekungaqala ukuhlangana. Sitho ukhuluma-ke ukuthi netentuthuko njengoba siva nje lapha kokuqala sibuka intuthuko sikhulume kokuqala nokuthi emaqala angavimbele kanjani emangweni. Mhlabe-ke sesingena kutentuthuko leti tinhlobonhlobo ukuthi lelive ukuze silithuthukise singilomango wala emzinene sive singenda njani. Ngiloko sitabanike emaripoti nebenkundleni bakhona la batawukhuluma ukuthi kunanathi imali letikhishwa nguhulumende yatifaka etinkundleni ukuthi bantu batowuthuthuka.
Tikhwama letisukunyiswe nguhulumende tifaka ekhatsi leso sekutfutfukisa tifundza, i-Regional Development Fund, sekutfutfukisa bantfu labasha, i-Youth Enterprise Revolving Fund, kanye netikhwama temali lesibambiso hulumende lalekelela ngayo bosomabhizinisi kute bakhone kuchuba emabhizinisi abo. Etindzabeni teSwatini TV, nginginelsi Ndlangamandla nginalinda Dlamini kaManzini.
Kutemidlalo, umqeqeshiwe licembu le-Royal Leopards Edwin Mathebula uthi badlali bakhe badzinga dokotela wengcondvo pheceleti psychologist ukuthi bakhone kumelana nalokwentekile embombela ngesikhathi baba nebulukhuni bekuthi bangene enkundleni. Mathebula uthi lokhu tawuphindze kubasite ukuthi basheshe bakhohlwe ukuthi kudliwa emagoli lasithupha kulamabili nabatfolana itulu nelicembu le-Orlando Pirates laseNingizimu Afrika ngaphansi kwe-CAF Confederation Cup kuyintfo leyenteka ebholeni. Mathebula bekhuluma ngemuva kwalomdlalo enkundleni yembombela eNingizimu Afrika.
Licembu le-Royal Leopards litfolana itulu nelicembu le-Orlando Pirates emidlalweni walo wesibili ngaphasi kwa-Group B endzebeni ye-CAF Confederation Cup enkundleni yembombela eNingizimu Afrika. I-Royal Leopards ucale kahle lo mdlalo lapho khona isheshe yathola ligoli lelishaya umzwandile Mabelesi. Umdlalo udlala imizuzu lesihlanu kuphela. Ngemuva komzuzu lesikhombisa ibuyile yona i-Royal Leopards yathola lelihle lelishaya uMthabiso Mankonkwane ngenhloko yahamba imbili i-Royal Leopards ngamagoli amabili ecanzeni. I-Pirates ivele yabuya-ke emdlalweni yafaka kushisa khona ku-Royal Leopards lapho khona igcine litfolile ngesikhathi Magchawe Dlamini we-Royal Leopards ashaya ibhola lebeyichamuka kuKabelo Dlamini we-Orlando Pirates. Ichubekile-ke nekuba nemandla yathola lesibili lelishaya ngibandile Shandu. Ibuyile singakapheli isigaba sekucala yona yathola lesithathu lelishaya Nkwane Pepa. Saphela kanjalo isigaba sekucala ihamba phambili yona Orlando Pirates ngamagoli lamathathu kulamabili. Esigabeni sesibili itholile lesine yona Orlando Pirates lelishaya unkapteni wayo Happy Jele. Kabelo Dlamini no-Orlando Pirates ubuyile wathola lesihlanu lalelicembu. Terence Dzukamanje Orlando Pirates ufake lesithupha lalelicembu lapho khona umdlalo uphele kanjalo sekumagoli lasithupha kulamabili. Edwin Mathebula loqeqesha i-Royal Leopards uthi badlali bakhe badzinga lusito ukuthi batowengcisa lokhu lokwendekile.
Psychologically the players are suffering because of the things that are happening outside. They came from the hotel, they didn't know how to get inside the stadium, so psychologically they are affected. But with Soldier on. And mind you, this is our first time getting into this group. And then
Mandla Ncikazi Orlando Pirates uthi noma bahamba embili kulomdlalo kodwa ke kukhona abadlali beLural Party labakhombe ukudlala kahle.
But from what we have seen, we know the team, the striker from South Africa, top striker, the one who scored the second goal, Moken Kwane, they are number 10 top player, and the Makakulas, both of them. Marta in the center, number 8 is a top player. We're always worried about them with Mapalesa at the center.
Kwanyala iRoyal Party ite amaphuzu emuva komdlalo emibili udlalile. Kanti umdlalo wayo lulandzelako itawutfola ngetulu ne-Al-Tilati yase-7 laseLibya enkundleni yaseMbombela ngelisonto. Lobikela umsakati Eswatini TV kutemidlalo ngilinda Dlamini kanti umbiki uhlanganiswe nguFabrice Msonera eMbombela.
Mengameli wenhlangano yomdlalo wemphebedo kuleli director uthi uyajabula ngendlela abadlali balomdlalo abadimisele ngayo emidlalweni yeSBS Tennis Tournament. Jele beyakhuluma ngemuva kokukhomelisa labadlali kahle kumancamu alendzebe.
Imidlalo yeSBS Senior Championship ledlalwa abadlali bamaqembu kuleli emidlalo wemphebedo kulempela sonto beyifike kumancamu ayo. Mengameli walenhlangano emidlalo wemphebedo kuleli Derek Jele lebekuncintiswano wakhe weqala solwangenile ehovisi aba njenganqengameli uthi uyajabula ngendlela abadlali balomdlalo labadimisele ngayo kulendzebe.
Turnout was very impressive. Desingakathi ukuthi ama-seniors ethu will respond to our call so early in the year. We had about 27 women's draw, and we had about 16 women's draw. It's been very impressive, and we're confident Guti at the next event, which will be a doubles tournament sometime late April, and my numbers were expecting them to grow.
Kanzi lohamba embili kubobaba ngiDerek nenyama uthi kunqoba kumanqamu kuthulane kumjabulisa kakhulu.
Yeah, I mean it was I think the third time or fourth time playing Tulani, so I had to make sure I made more returns, and I made him play returns, and if I played any shorter balls I was going to be in trouble. I had to accept that, but I just had to stick to what's right and kept doing that. I had to keep doing that, and eventually it worked on my side, and I came out at the top.
Tanzile Dlamini yena lonqobile kubomake uthi bekumphatha kabi ukuthi bekasola khala phasi kumanqama lomdlalo emahlandla lamane kulandzelana.
Very well pleased with my performance. Ngidlale kahle kakhulu. Today I became number 1 solo bangidefeat kuma finals, but today I made it.
Kanzi yena mengameli ubonga kakhulu labasekelele imidlalo lokulibhanga eBuilding Society kanzi uphinze waveta ukuthi lenye isine tournament itawubanjwa ingakefiki inyanga yamabasa kulomnyaka losetulu. Lobikela umsakati Eswatini TV kutemidlalo ngilinda Dlamini eMbabane.
Iphatha izindaba tethu ngaleto temidlalo asibahlele temakethe sidabe sichubeke nehlelo.
Pay your TV license quickly and easily with MTN Momo. Simply dial *007 *3 hash and select option 8 for TV license. Enter your national ID number as your reference and the amount you wish to pay. Then enter your PIN to confirm your payment. Once your payment has been made, you'll receive a confirmation SMS of your payment. If you're a first-time payer, you get another SMS for your TV license. So legalize your entertainment from the comfort of your home. Pay your TV license the easy and convenient way with MTN Momo.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
This life, true justice requires sacrifices. End of story, end of corruption.
One of them asked me that what kind of job are they going to do overseas?
When a man dies and leaves behind family and properties,
Kuliqiniso ukuthi umnakethu uMandla akasekho emhlabeni.
Ngifuna ajayivele siginqe sapha lomba. Ende isavo yakhe siyathokoza.
Gabane. Tobota mina kuthi Gabane ekhalami. Awathi kuthi Gama. Who's going to take his phone?
Sisi ngithe namhla sekwene.
Manje le nto
Ekwesho se awungikholwa ashayela uMelginenza umbude. Utakutshela ukuthi le nkampani yasala kini lena.
Iwini.
Ulandze mina, Thando. Ningeyati indlela yemaphoyiseni. Akudingeki ukuthi ungilandze.
So, now that my father is no more, who will be the owner?
Catch this live on Eswatini TV every Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. This live, no more to corruption.
Awile.
Weni babi.
Emandla abakasimelane.
Sekuphelile ngaso. Ngeke uphindze usibone.
Ha, kuphele kanjani ngaso God?
Lesikhwama salamadimoni abo sishile.
uNkulunkulu ungikhombise sipho lahlanyele lapha kuwe Musa.
Sihamba nekutehlisa.
Nothando.
Akamele sigcinele endleleni.
Ini? Uyasangana yini? Kumele angene endumbeni.
Angeke kulunge. Ngifuna lethi ngcabano kulomndeni. Wathi ngani?
Lo mfana sebenza ngemandla kaNkulunkulu. Siwati kahle thina emadloti la kaSimelane.
In season 2 of Simala, The Entangled Inheritance on Eswatini TV, Sibuko Semaswati.
Watch local TV on the go with the Eswatini TV app for only 20 emalangeni. Come on. Do the most with Eswatini TV app. Download from Google Play Store or App Store.
We're good together. Everywhere you go, MTN.
Asibinze sinimukele lesikhathi sitabuka letolo ethamba imbili kulamanye imave inhlangano emave la akamhlaba United Nations ibambe umhlangano lophuthumako ngesimo noma ke impilo echubekaka emkhathini weRussia neUkraine.
Will the diplomatic community give Russia the cold shoulder? That's at the heart of a rare emergency special session of the UN General Assembly. All 193 members will get a chance to speak before deciding on whether to support a resolution to condemn Russia's, quote, unprovoked armed aggression in Ukraine and demand its immediate withdrawal.
These are issues that affect all member states. And now in the General Assembly, they can all make their voices heard on Russia's war of choice.
The decision to convene the General Assembly comes after Russia vetoed a Security Council resolution condemning the war in Ukraine on Friday. Under the 1950 resolution called Uniting for Peace, the General Assembly can call an emergency session to consider issues relating to international peace and security if the Security Council is unable to act because the 5 veto-holding permanent members can't come to an agreement. Russia again voted against the resolution, but this is a measure that can't be vetoed.
Any attempt to circumvent or disregard the position of the Russian Federation undermines the very bedrock of the UN Charter. We shouldn't push through such schemes, but endeavour to find common ground regardless of our Western partners' attempts to avoid it.
The West and its allies will be hoping to improve on the 100 countries who voted in favor of the General Assembly resolution declaring Russia's annexation of Crimea invalid. While the GEA's resolutions are non-binding, they carry political weight and a chance to isolate Russia further on the world stage.
Onke live lase-Russia solo liyachubeka nekuhlasela live lase-Ukraine, live lase-Turkey solo liyachubeka nekugceka sento sase-Russia kanti selishito ukuthi litawuchubeka lisekele inhlokodolobha yase-Ukraine iKyiv.
With Russia's Ukrainian invasion intensifying and the toll of death and destruction growing, Turkey is adopting a harsher tone, declaring the Russian operation a war. That declaration let Ankara implement the Montreux Convention, a 1936 treaty governing access to the Black Sea via the Istanbul Bosphorus waterway, prohibiting Russian warships that are not based in the Black Sea from entering. The move was requested by Ukraine's ambassador to Turkey.
Turkey's view is that this is a war and that Montreux should be applied to the letter. As our president calls for peace alongside the rest of the world, unfortunately, we found this war on our lap.
Ankar's enforcement of the rules on the Bosphorus could be seen as largely symbolic. Russia deployed many of its warships to the Black Sea ahead of its invasion of Ukraine. Turkey, a NATO member, has not followed its European allies in closing Turkish airspace to Russian planes. But analysts suggest that there has been a significant shift in Turkey's stance on Ukraine.
Now Turkey is very much involved in the war in Ukraine, militarily and also intelligence-wise. It has been like that since a while, and the drones of Turkey are playing a decisive role in the warfare. So Turkey has chosen its side decisively, I think.
Ukraine has released several videos of Turkish-made drones targeting Russian forces. Moscow has sharply criticized Ankar's supply of its sophisticated drones. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has developed close ties with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin. But Erdogan's repeated offers to mediate in the Ukrainian conflict were ignored by Moscow. Turkey's dependence on Russian energy and cooperation in Syria call for Ankara to continue treading carefully with Moscow.
Turkey would be critical of Russia, might also be supportive of the Ukrainian government and the forces, continue to sell despite all the Russian criticism. So you see, there are different levels of, supporting one side or not supporting and taking different alternatives. I think Turkey would try to find a way in between.
But if the Ukrainian conflict continues to escalate, and with it Turkey's increasing support of Kiev, Erdogan's relationship with Putin, some analysts say, could become another point of friction in the conflict.
Inhlangano United Nations ethi bakhoseli lasebabaleka eveni lase-Ukraine sebayafika ku-422,000.
The wait is excruciating. Not far from the border with Ukraine, Polish authorities deliver bus after bus of refugees, and some families are reunited. Others are taking the bus back the other way. Polish border guards say 200,000 people have already crossed from Ukraine, and they've been welcomed with open arms. At the train station, volunteers are handing out bags of drinks, food, clothes and other necessities.
I really wanted to help, and so I went shopping and bought some stuff for people.
It's the same story of solidarity over in Hungary, where more than 70,000 refugees have arrived. Hungarians have rushed to the border to offer hot food, free lodging and rides to Budapest. Hungary and Poland have exempted Ukrainians from their usually strict asylum requirements. Meanwhile, the queues to get out of Ukraine seem endless. The EU says the war could displace 7 million people.
Kanti kusachubeka yona impi eRussia nase-Ukraine, live lase-Russia sekubikwa ukuthi liqinisa budlelwane nesifundza sase-Afrika ehlangothini lwetemnotfo.
Russian flags waved in Burkina Faso's capital following January's military coup in the West African nation. A statue unveiled in the Central African Republic last fall shows local soldiers backed by Russian fighters protecting civilians. Those are the more obvious symbols of Russia's resurgent presence on the continent. In 2019, at the first Russian-Africa Summit of political and business leaders, Russian President Vladimir Putin made it clear Africa is a Russian priority.
It was agreed at the summit to create a new mechanism for dialogue in the form of a Russia-Africa partnership.
A second summit is planned for St. Petersburg in October. The first, in Sochi, generated diplomatic agreements and billions of dollars worth of deals for arms, agriculture, energy, and more, said organizer Ross Congress Foundation. Moscow's overtures in recent years offer cooperation without what Putin has called the political or other considerations imposed by Western countries.
Russia provides, as did the Soviet Union before, an alternative vision for African nations. If there is one common feature between what the Russians are doing now and what the Soviets used to do, it's this common anti-Western critique.
The spread of militant Islamist extremism and other violence in Africa has created more openings for Russia's military. In Mali, so has the planned drawdown of troops by France, Mali's former colonial ruler and partner in the fight against jihadists for nearly a decade. Private military contractors also are helping advance Moscow's agendas in Africa, Western observers say. These include fighters in the shadowy Wagner Group, allegedly controlled by Putin associate Yevgeny Prigozhin. Putin has denied any connection with the group.
It is not the state. It is private business with private interests tied to extracting energy resources, including various resources like gold or precious stones.
But experts say whatever the goal, the result is that where the Wagner Group shows up, trouble follows.
Every place we've seen Wagner deployed around the world and in Africa, be it in Libya, Sudan, Mozambique, Central African Republic, it has been a destabilizing force.
Joseph Siegel, with the Africa Center for Strategic Studies, says mercenaries are part of Moscow's toolkit to prop up weak African leaders in exchange for economic or other advantages. They aid elites, not average citizens.
What Russia has been doing has been deploying mercenaries, disinformation, election interference, arms for resources deals, opaque contracts.
The United Nations is investigating reports of grave human rights abuses in the Central African Republic, allegedly committed by private military personnel. In Mali, the leaders of a 2020 military coup have brought in Russian military trainers and what U.S. and French authorities say are Wagner mercenaries. Some in Mali welcomed them by waving Russian flags, reflecting not only the country's historic ties with the former USSR, but also public impatience over continued insecurity.
In 2013, the Malian population were enthusiastic when the French arrived in the countries. And you can see today that they are rejecting their presence. To be honest, I would not be very surprised if in 2 years or so, the same could happen with the Russian presence, in fact.
Niagale Bagayoko, who chairs the African Security Sector Network, says African countries are showing a willingness to look beyond a single foreign partner.
There is the realization of the fact that being only engaged with single actors or with a single group of countries is restricting the possibilities for diplomacy, but also for military apparatus.
Russia isn't the only foreign government trying to broaden influence in Africa, home to vast resources and a surging young population. The White House plans a second U.S.-Africa summit later this year, and the European Union has announced a new $170 million investment in infrastructure to counter China's Belt and Road Initiative. China has been Africa's biggest economic partner for at least a decade.
Kunesayithi lesedolobheni laseBerlin eGermany leseyaba yi-museum nayo leseyitikanze seyimbandzakanyeka kule mpi lechubekako eveni laseRussia nase-Ukraine.
May the 8th, 1945, victorious Allied commanders arrive at Berlin's Tempelhof Airport. The official Nazi capitulation is signed at this former military barracks in East Berlin, captured by Soviet forces. War in Europe is over. The site is preserved, sponsored by an association of German, Russian, Ukrainian and Belarusian historians, and known as the German-Russian Museum, until now. Following Russia's invasion of Ukraine last week, the director decided to fly only the Ukrainian flag at the front of the museum. The German-Russian museum name plaque has been obscured. Normally, we display all four flags, Germany, Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus. We see it as an important symbol that we sympathize with Ukraine. Ukraine is the victim here. She was attacked. That's the only point to make. So today, we raised only one flag. The dispute goes far deeper. In World War II, Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union. Nazi atrocities against the Soviets are well documented. Many of those crimes took place on what is now Ukrainian soil. The site of the Nazi capitulation became the German-Russian Museum in 1994 after the fall of the Soviet Union. 2 decades later, Russia invaded Ukraine, annexing Crimea, and the museum found itself at the center of a dispute over its name. Our Ukrainian colleagues have difficulties working in a museum called the German-Russian Museum. From the German point of view, it was sufficient for quite some time to say, we have a museum with Russia, but it's a bit inaccurate. Russia was taken to mean the whole of the Soviet Union. For a long time, that didn't bother anyone. For the Germans, it's very important to have a museum together with our former enemies in war. But we've learned now that it's important to distinguish between Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus. On the eve of launching his latest invasion, Russia's president said it was aimed at the denazification of Ukraine. Russia has repeatedly compared Ukraine's government to the Nazis and accused them of committing genocide. Ukraine has strongly rejected such claims and points out that its president, Volodymyr Zelensky, is Jewish and has a grandfather who fought against the Nazis. Museum director Jörg Moray is outraged by Putin's language. This is a misrepresentation, a corruption of history that I would have never expected. Perhaps we have indeed learned nothing from history. It is a history that is still contested.
Germany and Europe believed war was a part of history never to be repeated, to be remembered in museums like this. But as conflict returns to Europe, Russia is invoking the language of 20th century conflicts as its tanks roll into Ukraine.
Ivela seKenya sasukumise ihlelo lapho khona sive sakhona sesitawukhona kuhlolela sifo samalala eveva malaria yokusebenzisa rapid test kanti njengoba lokuba kwenda ngoba ma symptoms malaria kanye COVID-19 ayafanana so bakondela kuzama kuphephisa sive saseKenya.
Scientists at the Kenya Medical Research Institute, KEMRI, have been working steadily since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic to come up with locally produced testing kits to help the country fight both coronavirus transmission and the endemic malaria disease. That journey has now borne fruit as Kenya becomes the first country in the region to produce testing kits that are designed with local conditions in mind for both diseases.
We have a kit that is I would say stable in such environment, that is accurate, and being a locally produced product that will be cheaper. And as you mentioned, something that will not require a lot of skills to use. So a health worker, a community health worker somewhere in Western country can open that pouch and do the tests in a very simple and a quick way.
Each year in Kenya, malaria causes about 3.5 million infections and 10,700 fatalities, making it among the leading causes of death in the country. The spread of COVID-19 placed an additional burden on the healthcare system, a situation made worse by the lack of testing kits and vaccines compared to developed countries. The invention of low-cost early detection testing kits for both COVID-19 and malaria will be a game changer for Kenya and Africa, says medical expert Dr. Willis Ahwale.
Diagnosis of any disease is the entry point towards prevention and control. If you are not able to diagnose a disease, you will first not know even what the disease is, and you will not know what measures to put in, and you will not know at what point of control or elimination that you will be at.
The KEMRI inventions will now help the country and the region get better results, says KEMRI team members.
And then we will employ this kit to test whether you have COVID or not. You as a patient, we will give you a negative or positive reaction. But the doctor will give them in much more detail. For example, we'll be able to tell them, we'll be able to tell your physician how much of the virus you have. Is it too much? Is it too low? Are you in the shedding phases? Are you in the beginning stages? So that can also inform the treatment they give you.
The KEMRI, COVID and malaria rapid test kits will save Kenya money, an estimated $32 million or 3.6 billion Kenyan shillings alone for malaria kits that would otherwise have been imported. The money saved will be redirected to other health intervention programs, says Kenya's health ministry, as the country seeks to export this technology to other countries in the continent.
Ansevenila se Cameroon bumage baglela live sebajoine licembu lemasocha ukuthi likhone kuyolwisa noma ke liyolwa ne Boko Haram.
Every morning, our Yusufa takes her bow and arrow and joins her colleagues at the entrance of a village. She is part of a local militia in Mora, a Cameroonian town not far from the border with Nigeria. The militia's role is to stop all strangers who enter the town. They check the visitors to make sure that they are not carrying explosives. Awa is one of 4 women in the 132-member group. She says she has to prove herself to be accepted.
One day, I was coming back from the farm and I saw a young girl who seemed strange and called the military. The military questioned the girl and confirmed that she was suspicious. The military asked me if I was a member of the vigilante committee. I said no. Then they took me to the chief, and the chief told me that from now on I could be part of the committee.
Self-defense committees emerged in Cameroon's far north some years ago to protect against Boko Haram. While these groups consist solely of men, some women have joined in recent years and take part in surveillance activities in the field. Other women, like Aja, not her real name, monitor women's cycle in their village to detect who may be helping Boko Haram.
There were women who communicated with their husbands in the bush. The husbands would send them money and the women would buy petrol to send to the bush. I found out that they used to put the petrol in plastic bags to make it seem like drinking water. They put them in coolers and transported them to Nigeria. Thanks to my information, the military raided the area and dismantled the network.
Militia members carry no gun, using only machetes, slingshots, bows, and arrows. They inspect bags to make sure that no dangerous objects are hidden inside. They all work as volunteers but would like to be compensated.
Concretely, we want them to give us, at the end of each month, at least a per diem as well as food because we are no longer farming. We have farms, but we can no longer work them. It's really difficult to eat, even at home.
VOA interviewed the deputy mayor of Mora who said aid is already being given to the militias.
They have been subsidized with a lot of material and financial support, and also they are being trained by the development partners who came and gave them support. All this is the work of the head of state, who has maintained good relations with development partners.
Mora officials say plans are underway to increase the number of women working with the village militias.
6 minutes to 7 o'clock. Let's cut here. Spotlight Magete, Starway at Inzaba Date Food, as Billy.
Nine bekunene sithanda kubonga kakhulu ukwamukelana nekusekelana lesokubona emangweni wakithi lo sothuthuke kakhulu etindzabeni dekwexwayana nekubandlululwa kulabane HIV asichubekeni singapheli mali sibe ngunyela labaphila ne-HIV bethu nawo
sivusele kini nonke bomntana
Sicela kubonga kakhulu endlunkulu nasemangweni ngekuma nathi singilabaphila ne-HIV. Sikhuluma nje sesiyakhona kusitakala njenga wonke umuntu endzaweni. Noma umuntu fathi ihambela nje asisasibo bomakhonjwa ngenhloko. Siyabonga bomaziya kuma nathi.
Kuva kabandi shayela 1212.
Travel, play and inspire. The all-new season of Kusile is back on your screens with your girl, Nombumelelo Dlamini. Of course, we have a new face in our team, the ever so cheerful Neliswa.
That's right, Bumi. This new face is ready for fun and adventure in the beautiful kingdom of Eswatini. I'm so excited to be part of this show in this season. We are the squad that is ready to travel and explore safely in this new normal, the COVID-19 era.
That's right. Don't forget to post your pictures on your social media pages and tag us. Who knows, we might just join you on your next trip.
Join us and be part of the Kusile squad as we travel, play and inspire every Saturday exclusive to Eswatini TV.
You can watch the latest episodes of the show on YouTube or download the Eswatini TV app to keep up to date.
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart and a desire for the unexpected. You embark on journeys to discover new worlds full of wonder. You choose a path to awaken your senses, to feel the rush of life overwhelm you, a world to make you look up and realize just how inspiring this life can be. You ask, and we give you the royal experience. Arrive and awaken your heart. Explore life in ways only thought possible in your dreams. There are but a few places on earth so special, so unique, and so spectacular, where it becomes a rite of passage for the ambitious travelers, the courageous souls, to all have the one and only royal experience. That day when you look deep into your heart and leap into an ancient world so very different from your own, where magic, beauty, and love are shared forever. Then you will have a royal experience. There is just one place on earth where the people make you feel a part of their kingdom, where you just might volunteer to awaken spirits, enrich minds, and work alongside communities to build, motivate, and inspire. This is truly the royal experience. When you dream of a different world, beyond the ordinary, beyond time, discover just how far you go to expand your understanding of life's greatest mysteries. There's just one place on this planet with so much to offer. Now is the time for you to have the royal experience.
I do the most. Watch local TV on the go with the Eswatini TV app for only 20 emalangeni. Come on. Do the most with Eswatini TV app. Download from Google Play Store or App Store. We're good together. Everywhere you go, MTN.
Seshayela insimbi yesikhombisa namhla ekuseni asiphindze sinimukele ehlelweni Kusile Breakfast Show sihlangene etindzabeni desibili. Tinkapani kanye netinhlangano letahlukene setinikelele imahamba coach hiking esifundzeni saseshiselweni ngemali kanye nangetintfo letilinganiselwa ku 100,000 emalangeni. Ikhuluma ngesikhatsi sikumisa lomsebenti eKing Sobhuza Memorial Park, indvuna yelitiko letemidlalo Harris Bulunga lebambe kuba indvuna yelitiko letekuvakasha ithi kusekela lomsebenti kumcoka kakhulu ngoba itimali letitfolakalako tisita labadzingile kulesifundza.
Tinkapani letahlukene setinikelele imahamba coach hiking esifundzeni saseshiselweni imali kanye netintfo lelinganiselwa ku 100,000 emalangeni kuchuba lomsebenti lokubhekeke ukuthi ube ngenyanga yamabasa kulomnyaka. Letintfo tifaka ekhatsi kudla, tikhwama kanye neticoko telilanga kubala kulokunye. Indvuna yetemidlalo Harris Bulunga lemele indvuna yetekuvakasha emsebentini wekusukumisa lomsebenzi ngekwemtsetfo eKing Sobhuza Memorial Park kalobamba ithi lonyaka lomsebenzi ubuke kakhulu kulwa nekuhlukubetana ngetebulili lokubonakala kukhula kakhulu esifundzeni saseshiselweni. Indvuna yithi lomsebenzi umcoka ngoba abantu besifundza saseshiselweni batfola kwesekelwa ngekwakhelwa tindlu nekudla kusetjentiswa timali leticokelelwe kulomsebenzi. Ichubeka yithi lo mkhankaso sowufinyelele kusita abantu labalinganiselwa enkhulungwaneni kanti tindlu lesetakhiwe tisihlanu.
The Mahamba Coach 8th edition hike in support of the government effort and in collaboration with you, our wonderful sponsors, has once again chosen the theme Hiking Against Gender-Based Violence. This is to continue supporting government's efforts of ending gender-based violence and raise awareness against any form of violence in Eswatini. This theme, as it has been said earlier, is relevant to the Shiselweni region since they have just been experiencing a range of challenges that are GBV related, some emanating from the frustrations of the COVID-19 pandemic and other social ills. This theme also harmonizes the objectives of the hike, which is to alleviate poverty by supporting and empowering deserving communities from the sponsorship that it receives. However, we still request more sponsors to support this initiative, as it is hoped that the present one can also increase whatever they've been offering. Mahamba Coach Hiking managed to fulfill its mandate of changing the lives of the vulnerable people through support from our sponsors and partners. Through this noble initiative, they were able to distribute food parcels to over 120 households in the Shiselweni region in areas such as Ngwene, Shiselweni 2, Zombotse, Somdongo, and Masaisini, reaching out to over 1,000 beneficiaries. And the food aid program also targeted the Hlatikulu Girls Home, which accommodates young girls who are victims of GBV. Currently, the building project has managed to complete the 5th house for a vulnerable family in Mahlashane.
Indvuna ibonga kakhulu tinkapani letahlukene letesekele lo msebenzi eminyakeni lesiphohlongo leyengcile. Etindzabeni teSwatini TV kubika Nelsiwendla ngamandla kunalinda Dlamini kalobamba.
Litiko letemphilo lihlangene nabo babetikhulu esipiki eGobolondlo Hall lapho belibukisana nabo ukuthi ungachibelwa kanjani umthetho lophathelene nekulinywa kanye nekusetshenziswa kwensangu kuleli. Mabhalane lomkhulu kulelitiko Dr. Simon Zwane uthi boba betikhulu bayingcenye yetinhlangothi itiko lelisebenzisana nato ngakho ke kumcoka ukuva imivo yabo lisachibela lomthetho.
Litiko letemphilo lihlangene nabo babetikhulu besifundza sakaHhohho eGobolondlo Hall esipiki kuva imivo yabo ngemthetho lofanele uchitshelwe lophathelene nekulima kanye nekusebentisa insangu lapha eveni.
Litiko letemphilo kulamalanga senda ama consultations kunemthetho lapha lesiu-amendako, umthetho we-Opium and Habit Forming Substances Act of 1922. Siyawulungisa senda sichibelo kulowo mthetho lowo lokutawenda kwekuthi indvuna yetempilo ibe sesigabeni lesikahle kwekuthi ingakhipha ema-license ekusebenta tindzaba letiphatselene nensangu. Kungaba kuyilima noma-ke kuprocessa imithi tsite noma-ke kuyisebentisa for research purposes, lokusho ukuthi kucwaninga. Lo mthetho uvuma kwekuthi insangu ingasetshenziswa kuleto tigaba leto letimbili, medicinal purposes, lokusho ukuthi kuyisebenzisela kwakho imithi tsite yekwelapha noma-ke kube kucwaninga. Siboneke kwekuthi boba betikhulu nalabo lababuke imimango bayi-stakeholder lesibalulekile ukuthi singaya kubo sive imivo yabo sisaqala kwenda lo msebenzi lo kwakha lo mthetho noma-ke kuchibela lo mthetho wa 1922. Labanye bema-stakeholders lesibone ukuthi kuyadzinga ukuthi sikhulumisane nabo. Kukhona-ke nalabanye lesitawuphindze futhi siye kubo siyokhulumisana nabo. Bobabe bala emimangweni lapho sive sikhona khona bayayati imivo, bangaba nayo imivo yesive kwekuthi bona bacabangane. Nekwekuthi nje-ke sigaba sabo vele babe boshefu kuyadzinga kwekuthi nasenda imithetho tsite sive nakubo nje ukuthi bangasivunulisa bathini bantu labadzala. Ngiko-ke sila esipiki njengoba labanye nje baseshiselweni.
Litiko lithi litawutsintsana nato tonkhe tinhlangothi letitsindzekako lisachibela lo mtsetfo. Etindzabeni teSwatini TV, nginginelson Dlangamandla kunavuma inkhosi Nzinisa esipiki.
Iteko letemphilo liphindze lahlangana nabo babetikhulu esifundzeni saseshiselweni ngawo umsebenzi wekuva imivo yabo ngekuhlongota umtsetfo losakhankanywa wekulinywa nekutsengiswa kwensangu.
Kulo mhlangano sikolwa wabuba betikhulu nelitiko letemphilo. Betemphilo betfule kububa betikhulu ukuthi umtsetfo lowatiwa nge-Opium and Habit Forming Drugs Act of 1922 ugunyata litiko kutsi linikete emaphepha lavumela umuntfu alime insangu ngetizatfu letimbili. Sizatfu sekucala sekwakhiwa kwemaphilisi nemitsi, kanzi sizatfu sesibili sekwenta tincwaningo pheceleti medicinal and scientific research purposes. Zandile Dlamini losehlangothini letemtsetfo etiko letemphilo uchaza kabanti.
Sinelihlaka-ke lwakamhlahlangene lesatimbandzakanyana-ke silivela kangwane. Kuthiwa yi-Single Convention on Narcotic Drugs ya-1961 as amended by the 1972 Protocol. Lolu hlaka lolu-ke luthi onke amave latimbandzakanyana-ke atawukhona kuyisebenzisela lokwakha imithi lelinsangu noma kwenta lucwaningo ngayo. Lokusho ukuthi nathi-ke silive laseSwatini kufuna ukuthi ngoba satimbandzakanya nalolu hlaka kufuna ukuthi masiyivumela lensangu siyivumelele lokho ukuthi siyacwaninga ngayo noma sakha imithi. Ingakho-ke namhla-ke kulo mthetho lesinawo lesesiwuchibela sivumela lokho nje ukuthi kwaloko kuphela njengoba buvela usho lo mthetho nekuthi-ke bese sesithi-ke kufuna kube nale authority lokuyi-requirement yalo mhlabuhlangane ukuthi kufuna kube ne-agency letaba responsible for loku-regulator lensangu uma ngabe lelive liyivumele. Sithi-ke i-MRA itawenda lo msebenzi loyo. Kunema-license lahlukehlukene siwabalile kule workshop ukuthi kutaba ne-license yekuproducer lensangu, kube ne-license yekuyi-manufacture incane ifuna kuyenta ibe maphilisi noma ufuna kwenta i-cannabis oil, kune-license yekuyi-transporter, kune-license yekuyi-importer nekuyi-exporter. Lama-regulations yachaza-ke yonke nale mininingwane nema-security measures lataba khona labekwako in place kwenta sure ukuthi lensangu ayinobe seyiwela kule illicit market.
Sikhulu sasembilaneni Malambulo Emdluli uthi boba betikhulu bathi baneluvalo loluncane ngalo mtsetfo.
Sitikhulu kuleyo mvulo labetenawo lamuhla akusiyo indlu lesiyithakaselako ngesizathu sekungikuthi
cishe lokuningi sebakuhlalile etafuleni bakudiscussa bakudraftana phasi. So lamhla sebathi awusitshela ngale mithetho labafike kiyo bona balitiko lokuthi batakusebenta kanjani bangafike etikhulwini. Tikhulu-ke tikubukile lokho tathi no tiyacela lokho ukuthi lokuningi akuyiwele ma-communities la kunesive khona sive sisho imvo yaso kibo kulaba baka-health bathathe le mvo yesive ukuthi sive sifiseni sona ukuthi bekungasebenteka kanjani ngoba lokhu lasebeta nakho bona sebakubhale phasi kunetinsolo letiningi lebo babe bachamuka nanto lokuthi ungazi ukuthi seyinto yemuntu lapha lo muntu lonemali ufika evene uthi yena unebhizinisi lenje ufise kulinywa lensango emaswati ayilime kubese kunikwa yena lensango lokho kusikushiso yini sikushiso ngaletindlela lela ufike khona ubuka lama-cost abo lama-license ekutransporta ne-license yokulima lensango lokho tonke letimali tiletulu uyabona ukuthi lo muntu lote nalomcondo lo ngumuntu vele lote akulungisele lonayo nale mali lo.
Litiko letempilo litawuhamba tonke tifundza telive lihlangane nabo babetikhulu ekukhulumiseni lo mtsetfo ungakayi ephalamende. Etindzabeni te-Eswatini TV kubika Sifiso Nxumalo nginasimuva Shongo sisenhlangano.
Luhlelo lokusoka kuleli voluntary medical male circumcision seletfule ebonesi labalishumi nakunye labatawusoka etibhedlela letahlukene. Akhuluma ehotela le-Hilton Garden Inn eMbabane nekatfula labonesi lobukele luhlelo Vusi Maziya uthi kwengeta tisebenti temphilo letendalo luhlelo kutawusita ukuthi kusebenteke melula nesive sisitakale masinyane.
Lihlose kuqinisekisa ukuthi sive sisitakala masinyane masitosoka etibhedlela letahlukahlukene uhulumende nhlangothini lokusoka kuleli i-voluntary medical male circumcision seliqeqeshe bonesi labalishumi nakunye. Lobukele luhlelo Vusi Maziya uthi lokhu kutalithuthukisa kakhulu lolu hlelo.
Solo le program yilidwa bodokotela. So as much as bonesi beba participate ekuhlelweni kwekusoka eveni basita futhi etigabeni letinyenti kodwa nje lokukhatha bekwendiwa bodokotela. Kwabonakala ke ukuthi kuze ku-addresseke le gap yekushoda wabodokotela. Litiko alisivumele siprogram ukuthi si-train bonesi kokuthi nabo sale ba-participate la ekusokeni. So namhla ke sitolontsha lokho kumcoka kakhulu ngakwekokuthi ku-addressa igap yokuthi bayashoda vele sebendi tempilo ikakhulu bodokotela abasibo banyenti kanti bonesi bavame babanyenti siyabakhicita sitrainela khona locally so kukhanza ukuthi vele sishaya inyoni letinyenti ngekuthi sale kuvunyelwa bonesi ukuthi basoke.
Njengoba uhulumende asebenzisana nenhlangothi letahlukahlukene kusoka sive inhlangano ka-PSI ngenyanga yeLweti eminyakeni lophelile ibike ukuthi eminyakeni lesihlanu ibuke kusoka bamvu abangu-50,000. Lobekela umsakazo Eswatini TV ngilinda Dlamini nalisiwe Ndlangamandla eMbabane.
Umphakathi wasemzimnene uthi utimisele kuqinisekisa ukuthi sive sathi kabanti ngetikhwama tahulumende tekuthuthukisa sive. Lidvuna Robert Twala livete lokhu ngesikhathi sive sakulendzawo sihlangene kubuka ukuthi yini lengendiwa kude sizuze kuletikhwama tahulumende nekuthi intuthuko ingalethwa kanjani.
Sive sasemzimnene enkhundleni yasemanzini North sihlangene kubukisana kwekuthi yini lengendiwa kude sikhone kutfola kwesekelwa etikhwameni tentfutfuko letisukunyiswe nguhulumende. Lidvuna Robert Twala lithi bese kusikhathi bangakhona kuhlangana ngenxa yemkhuhlane i-COVID-19.
Sihlangene ngaloko ukuthi kokuqala sitokuxolisa kulesi sengosi ukuthi emva kweminyaka lemibili siyabonga ukuthi uhulumende sowugcine athi sekungaqala ukuhlangana. Sitho ukukhuluma-ke ukuthi netentuthuko njengoba siva nje lapha kokuqala sibuka intuthuko sikhulume kokuqala nokuthi emaqala angavimbele kanjani emangweni. Sabe-ke sesingena kutentuthuko leti tinhlobonhlobo ukuthi leli live silithuthukise singilomango wala emzinene sive singenda njani ngiloko silabanike emaripoti nebenkundleni bakhona la batawukhuluma ukuthi kunanathi imali letikhishwa nguhulumende atifake etinkundleni ukuthi bantu batowuthuthuka.
Tikhwama letisukunyiswe nguhulumende tifaka ekhatsi leso sekutfutfukisa tifundza, i-Regional Development Fund, sekutfutfukisa bantfu labasha, i-Youth Enterprise Revolving Fund, kanye netikhwama temali lesibambiso hulumende lalekelela ngayo bosomabhizinisi kute bakhone kuchuba emabhizinisi abo. Etindzabeni teSwatini TV, nginginelsi Wendla ngamandla nginalinda Dlamini Kamanzini.
Umqeqeshi welicembu le-Royal Leopard Edwin Matsibula uthi badlali bakhe badzinga dokotela wengqondo pheceleti psychologist kuthi bakhone kumelana naloko lokwendeke embombela ngesikhathi baba nebulukhuni ukuthi bakhone kungena enkundleni. Matsibula uthi lokhu kutawuphindze kubasite kuthi basheshe bakhohle ukuthi kudliwa emagoli lasithupha kulamabili nabatfolana itulu nelicembu le-Orlando Pirates ngaphansi kwe-CAF Confederation Cup kuyinfo leyendekako ebholeni. Matsibula bakhuluma ngemuva kwalomdlalo enkundleni yembombela eNingizimu Afrika.
Licembu le-Royal Leopard litfolana itulu nelicembu le-Orlando Pirates emdlalweni walo wesibili ngaphasi kwa-Group B endzebeni ye-CAF Confederation Cup enkundleni yembombela eNingizimu Afrika. I-Royal Leopard ucale kahle lo mdlalo lapho khona isheshe yatfola ligoli lelishaya uMzwandile Mabelesi. Umdlalo udlalwe imizuzu lesihlanu kuphela. Ngemuva komzuzu lesikhombisa ibuyile yona i-Royal Leopard yatfola lelihle lelishaya uMthabiso Mankonkwane ngenhloko yahamba imbili i-Royal Leopard ngamagoli amabili ecanzeni. I-Pirates ivele yabuya-ke emdlalweni yafaka kushisa khona ku-Royal Leopard lapho khona igcine litfolile ngesikhathi Machawe Dlamini we-Royal Leopard ashaya ibhola lebeyichamuka kuKabelo Dlamini we-Orlando Pirates. Ichubekile-ke nekuba nemandla yathola lesibili lelishaya ngibandile Shandu. Ibuyile singakapheli isigaba sekucala yona yathola lesithathu lelishaya Nkwane Pepa. Saphela kanjalo isigaba sekucala ihamba phambili yona Orlando Pirates ngamagoli amathathu kulamabili. Esigabeni sesibili itholile lesine yona Orlando Pirates lelishaya unkapteni wayo Happy Jele. Kabelo Dlamini no-Orlando Pirates ubuyile wathola lesihlanu lalelicembu. Terence Dzukamanje Orlando Pirates ufake lesithupha lalelicembu lapho khona umdlalo uphele kanjalo sekumagoli lasithupha kulamabili. Edwin Matsibula loceceshi Royal Leopard uthi badlali bakhe badzinga lusito ukuthi batowengcisa lokhu lokwendekile.
Psychologically the players are suffering because of the things that are happening outside. They came from the hotel, they didn't know how to get inside the stadium, so psychologically they are affected. But we will soldier on. And mind you, this is our first time getting into this group.
Mandla Ncikazi Orlando Pirates uthi noma bahamba embili kulomdlalo kodwa-ke kukhona abadlali be-Royal Leopard labakhombe kudlala kahle.
But from what we have seen, we know the team, the striker from South Africa, top striker, the one who scored the second goal, Nkwane, they are number 10 top player, and the Makakulas, both of them. Matsa in the center, number 8 is a top player. We're always worried about them with Mapalesa at the center.
Kwanyala i-Royal Leopard ite amaphuzu emuva komdlalo emibili udlalile. Kanzi umdlalo wayo lulandzelako itawutfola netulu ne-Al-Attiyah yaseveni laseLibya enkundleni yasembombela ngelisonto. Lobikela umsakati Eswatini TV temidlalo ngilinda Dlamini kanzi umbiki uhlanganiswe nguFabrice Msonera imbombela.
Mengameli wenhlangano yemidlalo wemphebedo kuleli Derek Jele uthi uyajabula ngendlela abadlali balomdlalo labatimisele ngayo emidlalweni ye-SBS Tennis Tournament. Jele bakhuluma ngemuva kokuklomelisa labadlale kahle kumancamu alendzebe.
Imidlalo ye-SBS Senior Championship ledlalwa abadlali bemacembu kuleli emidlalo wemphebedo kulempela sonto beyifike kumancamu ayo. Mengameli walenhlangano yemidlalo yemphebedo kuleli Derek Jele lebekumncintiswano wakhe wekucala solwangenile ehhovisi aba njenganqengameli uthi uyajabula ngendlela abadlali balomdlalo labatimisele ngayo kulendzebe.
The turnout was very impressive. This
Seniors aid will respond to our call so early in the year. We had about 27 men's draw, and we had about 16 women's draw. It's been very impressive, and we're confident to see at the next event, which will be a doubles tournament sometime late April, and my numbers we're expecting them to grow.
Kanti luhambe embili kubaba ngiDerek nenyama uthi kunqoba kumanqama kuthulane kumjabulisa kakhulu.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I think, the third time or fourth time playing Tulani, so I had to make sure I made more returns, and I made him play returns, and if I played any shorter balls, I was going to be in trouble. I had to, accept that, but I just had to stick to what's right and kept doing that. I had to keep doing that, and eventually it worked on my side, and I came out, at the top.
Danzile Dlamini yena lonqobile kubomake uthi bekumphatha kabi ukuthi bekasola khala phasi kumancama lomdlalo emahlandla lamane kulandzelana.
Very well pleased with my performance. Ngidlale kahle kakhulu. Today I became #1 solo bangidefeat kuma finals, but today I made it.
Kanti yena mengameli ubonga kakhulu labasekelele imidlalo lokulibhanga Building Society kanti uphindze waveta ukuthi lenye isine tournament itawubanjwa ingakefiki inyanga yamabasa kulomnyaka losetulu. Lobike lomsakate Eswatini TV temidlalo ngilinda Dlamini embabane.
Setephetha indzaba tetfu ngaleto temidlalo sibahlele temakethe sitawubuya sichubeke nehlelo.
Pay your TV license quickly and easily with MTN Momo. Simply dial *007 *3# and select option 8 for TV license. Enter your national ID number as your reference and the amount you wish to pay. Then enter your PIN to confirm your payment. Once your payment has been made, you'll receive a confirmation SMS of your payment. If you're a first-time payer, you get another SMS for your TV license. So legalize your entertainment from the comfort of your home. Pay your TV license the easy and convenient way with MTN Momo.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Kudla kwempilo, food for life. An agricultural program that shows how a farmer brings food to the nation.
Gcine kudla kwayo leta uphindze kudle nasekufika isikhathi sebusika. Nalinile nje libele lana kuzone liyadwa imbela libele lahlanzeni. So lonke linale mvula le moderate yethu thine lahlanzeni. Kudla kusemhlabathini. Konke lesikudingako sitakuthola emhlabathini.
Kudla kwempilo for agriculture and farming development on Eswatini TV with the farm boy Samgelo Villarati Samvi. Kudla kwempilo, food for life.
Better health, better life. Another season with fresh discussions.
Ngethi indzaba letibalulekile tetempilo la ekhaya eSwatini lokunikela ehlelweni nokuphila masangana.
To learn from our health professionals.
Psychosocial support group for mothers who are going through the journey of motherhood for all mothers.
Kumnandi phila ube intombi yakeni bebakufusa ngesontweni ube jahala ke nabujaha and knowing that I'm a young man.
Angeke ufithe la groupini ungabhemi. So vele directly tawufuna nami ngibhemi kanti bengingakufuni lokubhema.
Coming to you every Wednesday from 6:30 p.m. here on Eswatini TV. Better health, better life. Your gateway to a healthy living.
I do the most. Watch local TV on the go with the Eswatini TV app for only 20 emalangeni. Come on. Do the most with Eswatini TV app. Download from Google Play Store or App Store. We're good together. Everywhere you go, MTN.
Welcome back. Solo buka hlelo kusele breakfast show siyakumukela nawe lo sanza kusivulela saqhubeka netindzaba tetfu letibuya ngaphandle kakuleli kanti ke tintsatselite live la seKenya setibike ukuthi ngitona tihlubeta kakhulu etindzabeni te harassment newsroom.
Gadhoni Kuria's negative experience with a supervisor at a Kenyan media outlet derailed her plans for a career in journalism.
I went to pitch an idea to him and he was just looking at my hips intentionally, very intentionally. Like I'm speaking to him but he's like just looking at my hips and then going up to my breast and not looking at my face.
Kuria worked at the same media house for 2 years trying to launch her career in print and broadcast. But she says rejecting sexual advances from a supervisor changed that trajectory. Her harasser wasn't interested in her professional growth.
He did not really care whether I published or not. He did not even sweat or struggle to even tell me go do a certain story unless I came up with an idea. And that idea would be merged up sometimes with someone else's story. So you see, I became almost like just a trophy seated at the desk.
Kuria's former supervisor told VOA her claims are ridiculous and suggested she report them to the police. Kuria's case isn't isolated. Around 65% of female journalists surveyed in Kenya say they face physical or verbal harassment. The figure puts Kenya top of a list of 20 countries included in a study by the World Association of Newspapers and News Publishers, or one IFRA's Women in News organization and City University of London. The study also shows in about 80% of cases women do not report the incidents. One way to curb the problem is to highlight it, say local advocates.
Create that open environment and safe spaces for people to talk about sexual harassment. Then the person who wants to hide in the secrecy of it to harass their victims will, of course, they will feel exposed.
It can be hard to secure justice too. Harassers risk being fired, but they still find work elsewhere. So the Association of Women Media in Kenya is creating a special committee to help bring suspected attackers to court.
There are cases where we've had even an intern raped at a gunpoint in Kisumu. But if you look at even how that case was handled, the media house sat, listened to the case, found the guy guilty and fired him. But after he was fired, went to another media house. So the cycle continues. There's no redress. There's no punishment. There's no justice for the victim.
Kuria for now has abandoned her aspirations to be a journalist, but media advocates hope the Women in News study will shine a light on sexual harassment in the newsrooms and offer support for reporters like Kuria.
Kanti kuna somabhizinisi waseveni laseGhana lo wakha tindlu leti affordable ngokusebenzisa recycled plastics.
The real estate market is booming in Accra. Luxury communities continue to spring up in prime locations across the Ghanaian capital. Realtors say the boom in luxury properties is fueled by the changing demography and growing economic activities in the capital.
I think it started off from the oil sector in the late 2000s when Ghana discovered oil. So I would like to believe that there was almost like a gold rush to Ghana at the time. So a lot of developers decided this was the best time to position themselves. So then they capitalized on that by getting multiple acquisitions and started investing it.
Ghana's growing economy is driving up migration to its cities, where many Ghanaians find themselves competing for decent and affordable accommodation. The 2021 population census revealed that Ghana needs about 2 million additional housing units to completely accommodate its 30.8 million people.
The deficit that we are talking about is in the lower, medium to lower income brackets. And we don't seem to be doing well in that area. The average estate developer is unable to meet the price points for this category of people.
But whether people are living in luxury or affordable housing, they also find themselves facing a common problem: plastic pollution driven by population growth. But plastic houses may be a possible solution to both problems. Nelson Boateng is building houses made of bricks from recycled plastics and is doing so at a fraction of the cost of concrete buildings. His one-bedroom apartment cost $11,000 and was made with 13,400 kilograms of plastic waste.
We advanced in producing plastics, Lego bricks to build affordable housing for the very low-income Ghanaian. The bricks are not because it's very cheap, the durability is less. It's stronger than the normal concrete bricks that we have, because these bricks can withstand waterlogged areas, can withstand earthquake, and doesn't bend.
Nelson mixes shredded plastic waste materials with sand under high temperatures to mold the inexpensive building bricks. The bricks have worked well for one-story buildings, but to lower cost and accommodate more people, he must find a way to build high-rising buildings.
So we thought of, no, why don't we develop a different pillar corner mold that can carry 2-3 stories. So that is what we are working on now.
The Ghana Standards Authority says test shows that Nelson's building blocks meets quality standards.
It passed the compression strength, just as the ordinary concrete blocks and things also pass. So the product is of good quality and can serve the same purpose as the traditional products.
Nelson hopes his homes made from plastic waste will catch on with the Ghanaian public. Even better, perhaps forward-thinking luxury real estate developers will turn to using the plastic bricks when building their next high-rise.
Kanti eveni lase Burkina Faso kwasukunyiswa uluhlelo lokuhlanyela tihlahla lehlelo lelidibana netinsayeya kodwa kubasekhona labo labachubekako labafundzisa sitikulwane lesitako ngabo bomgcoka bokuhlanyela tihlahla.
In the arid savanna of Burkina Faso's countryside, for decades, local people have understood the importance of planting trees to protect their livelihoods and hold back the encroaching desert. Few more so than El Hadji Salifu Ouedraogo, who has run a business planting and nurturing the famous baobab trees for more than 40 years.
At the beginning, it was mangoes that I produced, but I realized very quickly that many people already did that. So, having baobab at home and having noticed that people come to the house all the time to ask for the baobab leaves for food, I thought to myself, why not produce it in large numbers? It would help people a lot.
The baobab tree's fruit, leaves and bark are used by some Burkinabe people as an important food source and for medicinal purposes. But Thomas Sankara, the country's president from 1983 to 1987 and a national hero for many in Burkina Faso, envisioned planting the baobab and all kinds of trees across the continent. He once said, "Step by step, tree by tree, we'll create this great park of 10 million trees." Some say Sankara was the inspiration for the UN and World Bank funded Great Green Wall, a projected 8,000-kilometre-long band of trees stretching across the southern edge of the Sahara Desert from the east of Africa to the west. Backers claim it will also help fight the effects of climate change, drought, famine, conflict and migration. But critics say after 15 years the project is only 4% complete, with just 10 years left before its completion deadline.
I can see three different kinds of problems. One from the social point of view, obviously from the implementation point of view, and then the ecological consequences and feasibility. Territory that is going to be planted with trees is currently a conflict area, either with traditional military conflicts or with terrorism.
But non-profit groups say the project is making gains and uniting communities.
So we have been working on the ground, mostly with rural communities, rehabilitating land and forest, also empowering local communities to get involved into the economic system. So we really believe that the Great Green Wall is one of the solutions for the Sahel region.
Ouedraogo's son, who is taking on the family business, believes tree planting is essential for the future too.
I accompany my father on all possible terrains, and he tells me how to take care of the trees, and particularly the baobabs, which are a symbol of Africa.
He also said it's important to save nature because, in his words, saving nature is saving the life of man.
Kanti-ke Togo International Fashion Festival itawuchubeka nalonyaka kanti itawuthatha i-diverse approach kulolu hlangothi lwe-modeling.
Fashion is a way of getting messages across. It's a means of exchange. It's a form of communication. It's about sharing values. It's national, but also international. It's a way of discovering the world. I have to say, at the beginning, my dad didn't accept it, but my mum always supported me, and I thank her for that. She's always been a huge support, and today, thanks to the fruits of my labor, all the work I've done, my dad also supports me, and he is proud of me. Both of them are proud of me, and I want to thank them for that.
26-year-old Larissa Solim Amalet is the face of the 9th edition of FIMO 228, Togo's international fashion festival. What better way to discover the event than hearing from its ambassadors, the models themselves? They dazzle on the runway, but they also have lives outside of fashion, lives that reveal a lot about the ways African society is changing.
Apart from modeling, I also operate heavy machinery, more specifically cranes and forklift trucks. I'm not so into traditionally girly things, except for modeling. Modeling is a dream come true, but I also really enjoy operating cranes. At first it wasn't easy because I was the only woman among a lot of men. People told me that I couldn't do it, that it was men's work, that I wasn't strong enough, that instead I should do makeup or hairdressing. But I said no, a woman can do whatever she wants, so I invite everyone to do what I did, and together we can show that we women can do whatever we want to do.
Kathy Crossy is another model defying stereotypes, and not only with her age, she makes documentaries for Togolese television.
It's not easy. It's a real physical test because there are several days of preparation, and of course beforehand you have to spend hours training. Someone famous once said that walking catwalks isn't about wanting to do it, but rather about being able to. So yes, absolutely, it's been a lot of work, but it's also been a great experience. At least I'll have done it once in my life.
For her part, Céline Minet has been modelling for a decade, and she has no intention of stopping.
When I'm up there, I say to myself, I'm the only one alive. The world belongs to me. It's extraordinary. I really don't know how to explain it. It's something that you have to feel. It's like actors or singers when they hold up their microphone to sing. That's the only moment they feel good. They feel at ease in the world. That's the feeling I get when I'm doing a catwalk on a big stage like this festival, wearing beautiful clothes with great music. It gives me goosebumps. That's what it feels like to love what you do.
In 2021, the Togo Fashion Awards named Sefofo Badasu, also known as Alex Sef, Male Model of the Year. Alex is androgynous, something her family, after some struggles, now accept. But in the outside world, she's still often insulted for the way she presents herself.
Nothing has changed apart from the fact that people are starting to recognize me. And I've started to appear in certain video clips, which makes it a bit easier to state what it is that I do. So yes, I'm okay.
So, it's about affirming what?
It's about expressing the essence of the person you are, who you are, how you feel in your skin. That's what it is.
Who exactly are you, Alex?
Well, my name is Amour, love. So that means a certain softness. It's womanhood. Love is the person who controls everything.
This season, Ethiopian designer Hortense Mabea chose Alex Sef as her muse.
That androgynous thing is so rare in Africa that we don't really make the most of it. And it took me aback so much that I created a three-piece suit for Alex. It's a waistcoat made out of denim made in Ethiopia with a pair of trousers. It actually looks a bit like a men's suit with that lioness detail on the side, with the buttons, because I come from Ethiopia, and the lion is the symbol of Ethiopia. The jacket is feminine and masculine at the same time, and it's also made from Ethiopian denim. The collar is made from Ethiopian leather, and on the back you have a woven Senegalese fabric. When she wore it, I asked her how she felt in it. She told me she felt like a prince.
Both Alex F. and Hortense Mabea are passionate proponents of free thought and expression and value above all open-mindedness. It's these principles that form the foundation of Hortense Mabea's collections.
The slogan of my label is Wear Africa Proudly. It's about announcing Africa to the rest of the world. It's a message for everyone who loves Africa, and it's a way of showing that we can consume African and consume things that are very beautiful. That there's a huge amount of savoir-faire on the African continent. That's why I only work with artisans who do excellent work. We have so many things here that we can both offer to consumers and also enjoy ourselves.
The 9th edition of FIMO 228 offers a vision of African fashion that seeks to rewrite the script, a vision that wears its modernity with pride.
Masile isikhathi sidayiveni lase-China sidoba kombiko on the latest ngaloko lokwendekako i-genocide lecubekako eveni lase-China.
This is a graphic novella that tells a story of genocide against Uyghur Muslims in China. It was drawn by 33-year-old Uyghur Mihrigul Tursun, based on her 2015 experience in a Chinese camp. The novella was published on the Share American website, a U.S. State Department platform used to share U.S. foreign policy information around the world. Tursun says she was separated from her newborn triplets when she entered the detention camp, where she remained for the next 3 years. She says during that time, one of her children died of starvation.
My life is destroyed from 2015 to until 2018. From 2015 until 2018, I have get torture physically and the psychological torture in prison. I have electric, and I witnessed 9 women die in the prison.
40-year-old Zumra Dawood spent 2 months in a detention camp. During that time, Chinese doctors used unknown medication on her. She says as a result, she and her husband can't have children.
And in these 62 days, it's 2 months, what I have experienced was several things. One of them was being forced to take medications. I don't know what medications we were taking, but they gave us medications and even checked our mouths with their fingers to make sure we swallowed what they gave us.
When she fled to the U.S., she says doctors in America told her she had undergone sterilization and could no longer have children. 60-year-old Abdullahat Noor, also Uyghur, now lives in Canada. He says he fled to Kazakhstan after Chinese authorities demanded that he pay for his 3rd year in a camp. Chinese police tracked him down.
In Kyrgyzstan, even Uzbekistan or Kazakhstan, Chinese intelligence service coming there and researching Uyghur people and then sending police from those countries. When they come to us, they used to catch and give us to China.
British attorney Rodney Dixon represents Uyghur camp survivors in the International Criminal Court of Justice in The Hague. Dixon says Chinese security services have persecuted Uyghurs, detained them in other countries, and sent them straight to concentration camps.
In Tajikistan alone, we're talking about thousands of persons being deported or disappeared. Around 3,000 Uyghurs once lived in Tajikistan, and the numbers dropped dramatically down to approximately 100. The same is taking place in other neighboring countries.
Dozens of countries, including the U.S., have condemned Beijing for its treatment of Muslims in Xinjiang. The U.S. has also sanctioned 34 entities linked to China's armed forces and policies regarding its Uyghur minority. China has denied human rights abuses against the Uyghurs, and has said in the past the facilities are either vocational training centers or re-education facilities to combat religious extremism. Beijing has accused Washington of meddling in its domestic politics.
The so-called U.S. sanctions reveal the United States' sinister intention to control China through Xinjiang and fully expose the U.S.'s hypocritical authoritarian nature under the fake premise of democracy and its hegemonic nature and fake premise of human rights.
Experts say China's treatment of Uyghurs is rooted in Islamophobia and the desire to control the region's natural resources, including oil and gas. The United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights is in talks with Chinese officials on a possible trip to the Xinjiang region after the Olympics.
Siphethe lapho tindzaba tetfu tangaphandle kwakuleli asibahlele temayethe sidabuye sichubeke nehlelo.
Welcome to Pandesino Pandestratini, Kamalami Ispuso Dlamini, director and creator of Pandestratini.
I'm the main man.
You are the man, the muffin man. And action. Igama lami ngisibusodla Dlamini, I'm the director of Pandestratini. The show came about through the environment lengikhule ngihlala kuyo. So ngikhule ngihlala endzaweni leSikom. So kuhlala leSikom, there are so many things going on. There are so many markets and mahasili labawendawo bantfu labazama ukutiphilisa ngawo. For example, bathengisa ummbila, bakoleka tinsimbi, khona chicken dust, those usual kind of hustle. Lokungadingeka ukuthi uye esikolweni ukuze ukhone lokwenza. When starting the show, we had so many difficulties. For example, we had to approach people, we had to convince them ukuthi athi sincince ibhuti noma ncince noma ncince imali sicela ukukushootha to show your hustle. Khona start encourage abantu labanye. So those things, because labanye baba nembuto lomnyeni, for example ukuthi utasendani, labanye bathi velasifuni, but sakhona ukuthi bamsikhona kubakhulumisa understandane ukuthi le show lesinagendelani and how is it going to benefit yena and how is it going to benefit labanye bantu abaphila evendawo ngwana. Ngaka shooting yethu namhla we have my guy Linda Mhlanga lolimako lapha to my guy. Good. Ngikade okay saqala kushoota nyalo khathi sihambile sesikhathi sekulima bona seligoba gobile lilanga, which means the right way is either kwenda ekseni noma kwenda nsambama. And then I have my assistant cinematographer. Oh yeah. The first thing they send down once we go on set, we just load up the gear and the message aposta kumosa utashuta kanjani, because ukahle kuba discussion bachela ukuthi utashuta kanjani, bakatse ini, bakatse nani. Bangabe bona surprise, bas how musa kwasitshela ukuthi utashuta lokho. So kwendeka kanyalo. So mawufika nje on set, the first thing njengoba benikhulumile on the phone before, ukhuluma nabo sibatshela ukuthi sitashutha lokho nalokho so kuze wakhe story lesikahle. Okay, because ile langa ngala because utamakhuluma utakhulumela utamala ngento uthatha this way mawukhuluma instead of ukuthi ukhulume ngendla bukendasi. Although so kwehlaka so ku impossible but dabukale kina so kungcono. Yeah, it's a face le. Ya kube negate ngale atakhamba ngala hambe ayile itingala. Abona ukuthi amshaka so. Manje utahamba ukhulume. Wathi ndahamba nayo le camera nahamba nayo nje kaso. Maybe wena noma wala waphinda slap. Because ngifuna le wide lapha. Tamba tawo. Oh le wide. Atamba tawo ngale ngihamba ngale lenye mina icamera. Ndasasawona la ma thina ntanda mathinda kaso. Ngizume in lapho. Then when ngithathe le safe shot uhambe undahamba nayo nje kaso. Uqinile. Leki timbo betendeka on set bethi surprising because for example sihamba saya kashuthela umboye aka scrapyard mashutha yena we had an occasion to lapho kona lo mboye full shot insimbi wamiswa amaphoyisa.
Eloko maphoyisa kwaphose kwanithatha ngi-overloading.
Akhile amaphoyisa akazange abanenkinga usayambopha because I was so nervous ukuthi ngisamele ngobhelela umuntu and stuff. But lokho amaphoyisa akhona usiyekela saqhubeka. I think that work on our advantage sakhona ukuqhubeka sashutha.
Le crew kwakulicembu lebelikahle ngoba ngangihamba lingikhuthata ukuthi no mfana nami ungabi nenkinga chubeka nje usebenze lo msebenzi wakho ungalingeni uthathe izidakamizwa.
Mabasaqala kungithebula laba thebulako ngativa nje ngide inkinga ngoba noma ngibuta lutho bebekade bangiphendula kahle nginginakekela nanami uma babuta siphendulane kahle nje kude ukuthi bese lomunye ubuyisa buso lomunye sewukhanza sowubheka lena
kusho ukuthi apha nesitradini sihambe tindzawo letiningi sihambisa esiphoqosini komanzini saya eliyengu saya eMankayane so we're trying all our best ukuthi si-coverage i-hustle all over Swaziland singabuki nje just one township la suppose phuma khona. So I think that we explore the best and hopefully season 2 masaqhubeka we can be able to travel as far as maybe Dlavumisa, as Pigs Peak, just to show more of what the country holds on the hustle. I hope this show can benefit a lot of people. It shows different people labatiphilisa ngendlela letihlukene. Mabona nje ukuthi sinempuwe chicken dust from food up to letfungatafula which is more practical seafood and ngibe nempulo omunye lo futhi insimbi which doesn't demand any capital ukuthi bakhona ukuqala le business. It's just going around across the simba akola insimbi hamba usena scrape. So if you look at the range alama hustle leswendawo uyabonakala ukuthi Palestine can benefit a lot of people. Ngithi babukhona ubukela le show bese babona ukuthi athi kuthini nami ngatiphilisa ngale ndlela le yakutshela babe yongelethi vungu vungu pheleleke mi ithi hey ngiyamfunga babe bonke labo ganda ganda bendluleke mi ngivuke ekseni kusemanombo nombo ngifike lana ngekutophanda sikhokho ngoba impilo ayikhoma lula mnganami kuzupope kumele uphande gazi lami ngoba impilo ayisuye. I think le challenges abanayo ukuthi sishuthe endaweni lapho khona sidinga i-permit ukuze sishuthe. Nalozama kwenda usisaka spread yakhe number 1 sitoza macela ukuthi basivumele shooter ngekhathi. So lapho sometimes we are also shooter ukhanze ukuthi kusengi permit beba kupusukula kanje ayusubabu kubabu kubafu subaqethe wena uyatutungina kanje hayi beba ngephula ngithi laba beba ngekho. All in all, I think we overcame every problem we have and challenge, and that's when we can do better on another season, on another episode.
Le show len ngajabula ukuthi ibonise labasha ukuthi noma bangabe bahleli bangathola umsebenzi bangakhona kwenda lokuncane ukuthi bathole imali kunekwe ukuthi bahlale nje.
Le show lena phande stradini the hustlers lengufise kakhulu noma kusehitini yami ukuthi qhubeke site more young people show up their talents and their skills out there in those different communities so that they can also grow their skills and nurture their skills. Lengibona ngazuthi mina kimi vele kungisite kakhulu ukuthi ngibe nabo because naloko kunikete stability noma kunikete even the courage to do more, to do better, and kuningi futhi nalokunye lekufundzako from this company, because I can see ukuthi they just want to expose the talent and the skill of a young person and show that a young person it is possible outside as long as you are a hard worker, a committed person, a passionate somebody. It is all possible outside.
So I hope the show can just help everyone see because there are so many ways to hustle, there are so many ways to philisa, and there are so many ways ukuthi ukhona ukuphanda estradini.
Tell malangan chocolate. No, so one chicken and love talaga nang love bongos.
Sa pag na tendira.
Go terminate fumane ati.
Lokho ifuthe ukusebenzisa utakwenza uphilo ubeke isingwa etafuleni.
Mina sengimelele umngane wami bese sihamba sophanda.
Shemu, cha maye mahle ebonile.
Ngafuna ukuthi le project ingawa ngikhona nami ngoba angisiyo umuntu othanda ukuthi into ingafa ngikhona. Kule life nesiyakiyo umuntu ngangemuntu kuyafuna at least abe nawo 3 ma skills in life. Mina ngibonga kakhulu ngoba so ngacala ukusebenza lo msebenzi abadinga ngisupport labantu.
Pay your TV license quickly and easily with MTN Momo. Simply dial *007 *3# and select option 8 for TV license. Enter your national ID number as your reference and the amount you wish to pay. Then enter your PIN to confirm your payment. Once your payment has been made, you'll receive a confirmation SMS of your payment. If you're a first-time payer, you get another SMS for your TV license. So legalize your entertainment from the comfort of your home. Pay your TV license the easy and convenient way with MTN Momo.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Sekusele imizuzu emibili ngokushaya insimbi yesiphohlo lomhla kuseni sibakhulu ukuthi solweni ihlelisene nasi lomhla ihlelweni kusile breakfast forces vele siyanivalelisa lomuhla kungilesibili sethema indaba nosuku loluhle nalobususekile nalo liphephile sanibona kusasa nesale kahle.